So, Karen Brubaker, where was our first meeting? You remember? You are flutist, I'm flutist. You are American, I'm Swiss. Where was
We
it?
met for the first time in China. I was teaching music at a community arts school in Kunming in China, and you were teaching a master class there. I had this amazing feeling from the Holy Spirit. I have to study with this man. I never heard you play. I hadn't had a lesson with you, but I just sensed I have to study with you. That was really special for me. And then 9 months later, you were back in China again, but in a different city. And I got to then travel one day. I just flew there and back in one day to Shenzhen and got to have a long lesson with you. And that really confirmed, wow, I really, would love to study with you.
And then you came to Bern at the Music University for 4 years. I never forget. And then how was it? It was the normal life of musician. I would like to be the best, the fastest, the loudest. Or how was your experience? Because this was something special, I remember.
I had a lot of ups and downs in that time because, you know, there are times where I think, yeah, I'm good and I'm getting better. And then other times when, you know, I think it's normal as a musician, you have days where you think, oh, I'm bad at everything. It's easy to compare with other people. And then you start to think, you know, this guy is so good at playing really fast and technical things and has a beautiful sound. And I have to work so much harder and longer to get the same results. And I definitely struggled with this frustration of not being as good as everyone else. And I think also I recognize that in English, we have an expression like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. That I have a lot of experience in different areas, you know, a little bit in jazz, a little bit in, I mean, of course, I'm trained as a classical musician, but I have also a lot of other interests in singing and playing piano and writing songs and arranging and composing, but I'm not like an expert in any of those things. At first I saw that as a weakness, a frustration.
And then?
Well, Kristen, you always have a focus on helping people recognize their uniqueness, and that's something that I will always carry with me. The more I started to recognize that having these different skills combined is a strength for me, rather than comparing, I'm not the best in this, I'm not the best in this, I'm not the best in this. That was a journey for me to start recognizing that. And I found my niche in beatbox flute. And that's where I really also found my home and recognize, I just love doing that. And maybe you can share a little bit how you first had the idea to invite a beatboxer to give a workshop with your flute class.
So it was just a crazy idea. Why not to invite one's beatboxer? Is a Swiss jazz singer, and he's one of the pioneers in Switzerland about beatboxing. And then I asked my director, can we make a workshop? And then he asked me, what's the goal? Why you need this money? Then I told him, well, I don't know. I have no idea. Just to make an experience. I can tell you later what's the goal, but not for the moment. And, oh yeah, that's great. So we invited him, and then some of the class, and you were one of these students. Wow, it was like an open door. And it was so important to try once. How is it to find out a new way to make music, rhythm, the voice, to move? And so, of course, very soon I have seen, wow, Karen, she's interested. And I remember very well, you remember the feedback from one of our director after a recital or an exam?
If I'm remembering the same thing you're remembering, I think what he said was, wow, Karen, if you can take this energy and this excellence and convincingness that you have when you're playing beatbox flute and transfer this also in the rest of your playing, it would be amazing. Is that what you're thinking about?
There was something about your uniqueness.
Aha.
And he knows very well many musicians around the world. And he told you, and please don't forget, you can sing, you can dance, you can make beatbox, you can play flute, you can make jazz. Wow, 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 wow. And I don't know another person around the world, he said about the world, who can bring together all things.
Mm.
So you are not the best flute player, you are not the best jazz singer, you are not the best, you are not the best, you are not the best, but you are a unique one person. You can bring it on a very natural, spontaneous way together to share it with people on a unique way. So Karen, when I ask you a question,
Mm-hmm.
what's normal in your musician life, like you as musician,
Mm-hmm.
and what's unique, what's special?
I think one thing that's unique about me is that I really come alive when I'm improvising, and especially also improvising with beatbox. And I could just do this for hours and I forget the time, and it's just really fun. And that's a place where I realize I'm not fighting to try to get somewhere, but I'm just enjoying where I am. And of course, I mean, I'm like, the normal side is I'm like anyone, you have to practice for technique and get better. But what I notice is that I'm just super motivated to practice that.
Wow, and something normal? Perhaps you don't know it.
No, of course. I mean, I think what's very normal is like what I just said, the need to work hard. I mean, everyone has to practice and get better. And I think also what's, yeah, maybe quite normal is the tendency to compare with other people and say, you know, you can, I think that's a constant battle as a musician, where you recognize, yeah, this is where I'm unique and I can stand on that and I'm thankful for that and I can celebrate other people, but it's a constant choice. So that's maybe something very normal, where I have to, like anyone else, I have to choose to be thankful for how God made me, and also thankful for how God made other people, and not judge myself against them.
That's very interesting, your thoughts. I think our normal life is we have to practice harder, longer, deeper. We repeat and we repeat things. And our joy comes down because that's not very helpful.
Mm.
You say you enjoy to make new sounds, beatboxing, to have motivation. So I think that's a very important key for us as musicians.
Mm.
If you start the normal life, I have to work harder. I want to be the best. Ah, ah. We lost our life. We lost our joy. And you key, wow, I enjoy it. And of course, you forget the time, and then you make your process. You forget the time, and by the way, you make progress.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very important key. Thank you very much for sharing. What's your most beautiful, nicest experience in your life as a musician, and what was the worst case experience?
Whew.
Don't think too much. just...
No, there's a lot of good experiences coming to my mind. It's hard to decide which one. Okay, I'll start with the bad experience first. I this was during my bachelor, and it was like a pre-round for a competition in our university, just amongst the flutists, because we had so many flutists in our flute class that the director of the competition said, you guys have to narrow it down first before you send us to the competition. And I was playing the first movement of Ibea concerto, and I was playing it by heart. And I remember I started and I had a great beginning, and then within the first, I don't know, 10 bars, I just had a blank out from memory, and I couldn't move forward. And then my teacher, she says, Karen, stop. I mean, it's in a concert hall for people. And she says, stop, you can start over again. And I started over again, and it actually was a great run through. But on the inside, I was so humiliated that this happened. And it was so, the good performance that I ended up having was, for me, covered up by that small beginning where I had to restart. And I remember coming off stage and I just started weeping, and I felt horrible. And one of my friends in the audience didn't make it easier. You know, he whispered in my ear, yeah, it sucks to be humble, doesn't it? And I thought, that's not exactly the nicest thing to say to me at this moment. Let me keep on crying. What was also great in the end is that I was actually selected to go on to the competition. It was a bad experience, which turned into a good experience, to help me recognize that other people see something else, perceive it differently than I perceive myself. Yeah, many good experiences are coming into my mind, but maybe I think of one. Last autumn, a colleague of mine here in Leipzig wrote to me and said, hey, do you want to just get together and jam sometime, improvise? And I didn't know him yet. So I went wondering, how is this going to be? And we got to know each other a bit, and then we just started improvising together. He's playing the guitar and I was doing flute, and we just had an awesome time. And it really clicked. And I went away from that musical experience just feeling like, wow, so inspired. And I mean, I have many of these kind of examples, and I wouldn't say that that's the best one, but that's just what comes to my mind.
Do you have some dreams for the future? Because you made good experience, you know how great it is to enjoy, to play music, to make improvisation, to share your beatbox, body percussion, and all the stuff with other people. You have an idea, you have a color, you have a vision. And for us as musicians, when we don't have dreams, when we are working very hard but nothing else, then normally we don't have realistic dreams. Okay, no, the dream is never realistic, sorry, forget it. But when you enjoy the life, when you enjoy the music, normally it creates some dreams in us. And what are your dreams for the future?
Yeah, I think right now my dream is to continue composing my own music and perform it when I have opportunities. And ultimately, I love to connect with people and use music as a way of connecting. And so I think my dream is also to help people the way that you helped me, Christian, to recognize their uniqueness. And I think I can, in a way, best do that by living it out. When I live out, you know, what I found for me as my uniqueness, I think that can also inspire people to figure out, hey, what's my thing? And yeah, I mean, I also have a dream, you know, dreams of getting to teach beatbox workshops in many other places in the world. Or I think I used to dream, the unrealistic dream was to get famous. And now that's not really a dream anymore. Yeah, I think ultimately helping people find their home in themselves, who God made them to be, and also find home with God, to recognize that they're made for a relationship with Him, and come to be at home with Him. That's really what's on my heart.
And I have also a dream for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of the people, they are gifted to have relationship one-to-one. And I remember very well, it was once in Chengdu. They told us you have about 30 or 40 people, flute players. And it was clear you make a workshop, beatbox, body percussion. And with Chinese, you have to be interactive, otherwise they are not present. So, and then we came in the room, and you remember there were 80 or even more people. And can you start in this big circle, you start to communicate with them interactive at the same time. After this experience, he told me, well, it's even easier to have more people around me and not only one person. So for me, that's something like a key in your life. You are gifted. You are gifted to communicate at the same time with many people. And I have a dream that you go back to China. You know, there are many, many people. There are many, many, many flute players. And God will open a space for you that you can share your life, your personality, your uniqueness with a lot of people at the same time. So that's on my heart. I know that's not really unrealistic. It's, yeah.
And that's also, yeah, it's also a dream of mine as well. I think maybe I didn't phrase it as a dream. In some ways, it's also come true. But my really, yeah, would love to continue doing that.
So, Karen, do you have something on your heart you want to share?
Yes, there's many things on my heart I'd love to share, but something that's really important to me, I think also because it was a part of my journey, is to share about the journey of discovering who you are. Because in my 4 years of studying with you, that's really what happened. It wasn't just getting better at the flute, which also happened, but it was a discovery of who God made me to be. And it's a journey that continues. I mean, I'm still in that journey. But it was just something I want to encourage whoever is listening to recognize that you're made to be you and not someone else. And the different things that you enjoy doing, whether that's in music or something else, that they all combine to make you. And for me, I really found this uniqueness with beatbox flute. And I'm so thankful that I got to have this workshop with Andreas Scherer, because actually learning beatbox flute was something that I thought would be cool since I was a teenager. I remember my brother showed me a video of Greg Patillo on YouTube when I was a teenager and said, like, wow, it would be so cool if you could do this. And then I saw it and I thought, yeah, that's awesome, but I can't beatbox, so no chance. And fast forward, 8-9 years later, here was someone who was showing me that learning beatbox is like learning a language. At the beginning, you feel like an idiot. You say the wrong things, you pronounce it wrong, and you think, oh, everyone thinks I'm stupid. But if you want to communicate, then you keep going. And if you learn, okay, I just have to practice that my tongue comes here at the front and my lips do this. And that gave me such a freedom to recognize it's not like you can either beatbox or you can't, but that you can learn. And I think that's something I also want to encourage, anyone listening. It's not just about what I wish I could do that, but no chance, I can't do it. But recognize there are steps to get there, and if you're motivated, then take the steps and go there. So this journey of discovery, I'm so thankful for it, and I think it's also freeing to recognize I don't have to know, you know, what my career will be like in 10 years. I don't have to know what the purpose is of my beatboxing right now in this moment, but I can recognize that God's using it and he's creating his own story. And I think it's so freeing when you recognize I don't have to know the end at the beginning to start.
And you know, that's also a wonderful challenge for me as a teacher. When I see you only as a flute player, then I have to push you as a flutist, and you have to be. And that's a normal, a little bit bad motivation for me as a teacher. But when I start to recognize what God created in you as a flute player, like a human being, and I can see this small plant, new plant about beatbox, and I can take care and just have a look what's happened in a heavy air. And for me as a teacher, just to share with you without pushing, that's a wonderful job as a teacher, to be very lazy and just to create the atmosphere.
It's not lazy, Christian. That takes a lot of wisdom from God and a lot of patience and watering and encouraging. Yeah, I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's maybe cool if you say a few sentences about uniqueness, because that's like your biggest thing that you're always talking about. What brought you to this point of recognizing, discovering the uniqueness in someone is so important?
Because I find out from myself there are too many good flute players like me. Nobody's waiting about my flute playing, but there's something more, a combination between different things. And first of all, I was thinking about myself, but what's that in my life? To play flute like thousands of other people. Okay, I can do it. But then this view from God, from Jesus, He made everyone different. And then to find out, like in the nature, the flowers, the trees, everything is different. And then I started to be so interested to see the uniqueness in everyone. Then my life as a teacher became very interesting because I don't have to compare who is the best. No, that's the wrong question. How I can support someone's uniqueness. And that makes my life so interesting. And then afterwards, I find out how Jesus has seen Peter or John or all these other guys. Not Peter has to be like John because, you know, John is so balanced, life balanced. And John, no, John, please, you have to be a little bit like Peter. No. And so this make the life so interesting to find out, hey, God, what's the uniqueness in Karen's life? And that's a process. I don't know it the first meeting, but I can feel, wow, backstage, behind, there's something special. And that's my view about people. And that makes my life not as a flute player, not as a famous something like, no, really not like this. Just to have a similar, I'm not Jesus. I don't know exactly his view, but I feel a little bit how he's looking about people because he created. Everyone is different. So that's really an amazing relationship with everyone.